Overstock.com CEO Patrick Byrne resigned yesterday from the company he founded after baffling investors with a press release about the American deep state. Martha MacCallum hosts The Story with Martha MacCallum, of course, every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, right before this show. She spoke with Byrne right after he resigned, and it quickly became one of the weirdest things I've ever seen on television. You can judge for yourself. Byrne says his relationship with Russian national Maria Butina, who's now in prison, was a political espionage sting set up by the feds against America's top politicians. Here's part of what he said.
So you had helped the government a couple of times. They reached out to you. What did they ask you to do?
I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty right now. Here's what it is. This was all political espionage conducted against Hillary Clinton, Rubio, Cruz, and Trump. This is not a theory of mine, some political theory. I was in the room when it happened, in a way. I mean, not in a way. I was part of it.
So then Byrne went on to say that his handler in this operation was none other than disgraced FBI official Peter Strzok. Watch this.
The men in black, as I called them, showed up and asked for this third favor. Well, anyway, I'm not going to go into the details right now, but I didn't know who sent the orders, but I did them. They seemed fishy last summer watching television. And here's the punchline. Here's the punchline, people. Last summer watching television and some congressional hearings, I figured out where those orders came from. They gave him a guy named Peter Strzok and Bill Trista, Carlson, McCabe, Comey. That was who sent the orders.
Well, you're naming a bunch of FBI people there.
Well, the Peter Strzok, and it has been confirmed to me that my instructions came from Peter Strzok.
Byrne then confidently predicted that this story that he's explaining would expose Jim Comey in the end, too.
Well, no doubt Peter Strzok would watch this and say, you know, he's full of it. I had nothing to do with anything that he's talking about, I would imagine.
He won't. I can tell you, Peter Strzok, you want to see a former director crap his pants? Pardon me. Go stick a television camera on Peter Strzok, or let's just say James Comey, and say the name Patrick Byrne. You will see a former director of the FBI crap his pants.
What to make of all this? We could dismiss it out of hand and say, oh, he's crazy. But maybe we shouldn't dismiss it out of hand, actually. We talked to Martha MacCallum about it just moments ago. Here's the conversation. Martha, thanks a lot for coming on tonight. Like everyone else in America, I watched that interview. You did just spellbound, and I'm not exactly sure what to make of it. So I'm grateful that you're here to tell us your impressions of it. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a surprising interview. It's a very surprising story. But I had spoken to a couple of sources that are close to the investigation who said that it's possible that he may be telling the truth, is sort of the way that they're looking at it at this point. He turned over all of his texts and documents and emails to the Justice Department investigation back in April. He met with them twice, April 5th and April 30th. So there's at least enough of a seed of a thread there that they are hearing him out. He says this is the key to everything. He says, I was there, I saw what happened, and basically he's suggesting that what he thought he was part of, he says he had worked as an asset for the federal government a couple of times before on different things just to be helpful, and when they reached out to him this time, he thought he was doing the same thing, but he said it became very clear to him that after some point, it was not a law enforcement issue, but a political espionage issue, and that's when he says, you know, his feelings about the whole thing started to turn. Now, that being said, you know, Andrew McCabe has responded, James Comey has responded. They say they've never heard of him, that nothing about the way of what he described is the way that things happen in these investigations. So, you know, there you have it.
So he does a pretty good imitation of a delusional man. I mean, that was my instinct watching it. This guy's unbalanced.
Yep.
But the allegations he's making are, some of them are general, others are specific, and they're serious. And so you would imagine that the agencies involved would immediately shoot it down. But you said you've spoken to high-level sources who haven't shot it down.
Yeah, and I think the way to describe it is that they're saying that he may be, he may be telling the truth. There may be something here. They don't know for sure. This is obviously part of an ongoing investigation, John Durham's investigation, and we'll see if anything comes of it from there. But he claimed when we spoke last night that he believes that Bill Barr is going to uncover what he says is the greatest American political scandal of all time. And keep in mind that what we've been going through for the past 2 years with the Mueller investigation was one side of this investigation, but the other side of the origins of the investigation is just beginning. He also says, I'm not the only one who, was involved in this, was an asset that was part of this. And I also think that there's enough kind of mention out there surrounding this investigation that there's a belief that it wasn't just Carter Page and the FISA applications, that if there was this kind of attempt, this kind of effort to kind of, sprinkle some scandal around and see where it would land and see if they could find something that connected to President Trump, an insurance policy, if you will, that it was likely that they tried it in a number of different places. Interesting. So we do know it has been confirmed that he did have a romantic relationship with the Russian woman now in jail, the supposed spy. And his allegation is he was asked by the feds to have that relationship. Is that right? Well, he says he met her on his own, and then they began becoming interested in her because she was a Russian in the United States, and she was interested in meeting up with all of these political types. But he says, then they started encouraging the relationship, and he claimed on another interview that that they told him to go back and initiate an intimate relationship with her. But here's where things are fuzzy, because he said to me, I never touched her. We were close friends. He said he respected her. He thinks that she is a very smart person. But he sort of, once it became clear that she was looking for ways to connect with the Trump administration, she mentioned, he says, Donald Trump Jr. Wanting to connect with and meet with him. And then she sort of moved away completely from wanting to investigate the Democratic side of the equation. He said about a third of him believed that there was definitely something that was up with this relationship and with her. What a story. What an unbelievable story. It is. And it turns out, it may be, as your reporting suggests, it's possible that some of this is real, which is, I guess, shouldn't surprise us. Yeah, it's interesting that Andrew McCabe said, some of what he described is not the way we do things. And then he went on to say, I don't know him, never heard of him before 3 days ago. So we'll see. We'll follow where it leads. It's so perfect. Martha, that was great. Great interview. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Great to see you.